So what's going to happen here, guys, is you're going to have half the screen's always going to be blank because my face was supposed to be there. But either way, as long as this works, and my font is massive, so you'll be okay with that. Okay, because we got to blast through. So here we go. Launch, how to guarantee your business to build a sellable company. So this is what you're going to learn by the end of this presentation. So have a new way of thinking, which is my goal. You want that. Own a new framework for preparing your company for sale, and be happier than when this presentation started. So that's a goal. All right. So this is the presentation thing that I watched yesterday. The guy said, okay, you got to start with why, otherwise people don't care. So my why actually is every week I try and help 10 entrepreneurs on their journey. So we got 15 of us in here right now. So I'm already like checking that box, which is awesome. And then my second goal is in 2021 to help 100 business owners sell their companies. And I ran a business brokerage for a while, and we were able to actually, the best and largest business brokerage in Canada did 86 companies last year, actually in North America. So that 100 is kind of a big deal. I'm like, we'll never hit it unless I change the model. So our new model is just giving you guys the information, giving entrepreneurs the information directly so that you are empowered to do the sale yourself. And then we can scale from 100 to 1,000 just by giving you the information. So that's what this is all about. That's my why. And then, you know, if you don't have some credibility, no one wants to listen. So here's the credibility slide, which is I've sold 3 companies of my own. I ran a business brokerage. I still own it. I still run that. And I built and authored the business brokerage course for the 50,000 realtors in BC. And I'm a certified mergers and acquisition advisors and a CBI. So, okay, fine. Who cares, right? So we just want to get into the content. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so the most important principle is what we're going to learn here. That's the first thing we're going to learn, most important principle in a small business sale. Then we're going to talk about how to leverage that new information I'm teaching you so that your company is sellable. And then I'm going to give you a story so that it'll kind of embed that information. So the most important thing, what's our most important thing, most important principle for a small business sale? Think about your buyer first. This is the biggest thing, right? So I don't care, whatever you're doing in your business, if you're not thinking about your customer, you're kind of be cooked, right? And so we want to be thinking about our buyer, because when we're selling, you know, we're selling to a buyer. And when we're selling our company, that's our product. We're selling our entire company. So we need to be focused on the buyer. And I'm going to teach you guys right now what buyers care about. And it's not going to be a shock. It's almost going to be a reminder, but this is good for you guys to have in your back pocket. So buyers care about 2 things, and just these 2 things, all right? They care about their time. So this is the new way of shifting your thinking, all right? So of course we all care about our time, but our time it's our potential energy. It's our future energy, right? So we have it stored up and we never think about, oh, how much time did I have last week? Like last week's toast, right? It's gone. We're thinking about how much time do I have left in this presentation? How much time do I have, you know, this week coming up, this year? So that's our potential energy. So the buyer's trying to conserve and is always trying to protect their potential energy. Then they care about their money. So they care about their time and they care about their money. And our money, that's our historical energy, right? That's our stored energy. It's what we've already earned over the course of our life. We put it into real estate. We put it into our small businesses. We put it into whatever, but that's our stored energy. And buyers are incredibly protective of their stored energy. And that's why our due diligence periods are brutal when you're selling your company, because they want to make sure, don't steal my stored energy, right? So this is a new way of thinking about things. So these are the sacred resources that they have. They have their time and they have their money, right? And so that's what they have to invest. And they do not want to lose either, ever. Like they're like, you don't know, like when you get in there to sell your company, it's like the buyer, that's what they care about the most, okay? And what they really want is they want their time and their money to grow, obviously, right? Like that's what investors want. So I have this picture here, and this is going to maybe be like, I don't know if it's going to be too small for you guys now, but this is kind of going back to high school biology. And this is like our amoeba, right? And so in the amoeba, we have like the cell membrane, and you have the food vacuoles, and you have this like cytoplasm and whatnot. And the reason why I'm showing this, because like who cares about biology, is I'm trying to give you something that's going to imprint in your brain. So when you're building your company to sell, this kind of sticks. So this here is our buyer amoeba, right? And the beauty thing about our buyer amoeba is it's so painfully simple. It's like, okay, we've got our little money here. It's like consists of money and time. That's it. These are the 2 things that amoeba cares about the most. And oh, here's this addition, is a status barrier, right? Which I'm going to bring us into in a second. So we have a status barrier around our buyer, and then we have cash and we have time. And these are our things, right? And what they're really trying to do is invest their current cash and their current time to get more cash and more time. So the buyer amoeba, it's a incredibly simple organism. All right. So that gives us our foundation. So these are the things that we need to know about our buyer, right? They care about their time, they care about their money, and they care about their the status, right? They care about their status. So okay, so how do we leverage these things to guarantee that our company sells, right? And so this is like the little recap. And when I was building this recap, I was like, this is kind of boring, like the status barrier, because I want us to remember these three things. It's like, it's too lame, right? So what would be a cool status barrier? So I was trying to think of like, do I have like Arnold Schwarzenegger be the status barrier? And no, it's why don't I use Steven Seagal? Because like the most washed up actor. But here we are, like Steven Seagal is going to be our status barrier for the rest of our presentation, and he's out for justice. And then I changed it to out for status, right? So he's out for status. So these are the three things, and there's images so you remember them, right? So okay, think about your buyer. You're going to be coming there buying their business. We got to satisfy them because otherwise our company won't sell, and we want to guarantee our company sells. So we got to get through the status barrier. We got to get through time, and we got to get past money. Okay. So how do we do this? How do we overcome the status, right? That's the first barrier we need to overcome. So this is the image I'm giving you guys to kind of think about this and conceptualize it. So basically, when you have your company, right, which is like this feather, and you have a buyer, and they have some feathers in their cap already potentially. We have two kinds of buyers. We have buyers that have never purchased a company in their life before, and if we're selling small businesses, which is kind of what I specialize in, then likely the buyer has never had a company before. So what we need to do with our feather, so that they put in their cap, is just show, hey, listen, this feather, owning a business, owning my business, is better than what you're previously doing. It's better than being an employee. It's better than being a manager somewhere else. Like, this is going to give you the freedom that you need, and this is a feather that you definitely want in your cap. So that's what we need to do to kind of break through this status barrier. We're showing them you're going to have higher status when you have this feather, right? Now, if we're dealing with a strategic buyer, or we're dealing with an industry buyer or a private equity firm, they've already got a bunch of feathers in their cap, right? They've already got a bunch of companies in their portfolio. So how do we get these guys, right? You're using a different feather. So we have to take our feather and we have to show that it's going to work in their cap, right? So it's like, this feather is going to look so good in your cap. Like, you already have a couple ones in there, but this one, it's going to be perfect to match, right? And that's what we're trying to do. And so I'm trying to get you guys to conceptualize, how is it that I break through that status barrier on the buyer amoeba, right? Okay, so once we broke through the status barrier, then we have to overcome time. I have a drink now. We're pushing through. Then we got to overcome time. Okay. So how do we do that? Like the time barrier, right? So this is the biggest thing. If you have a company that is of decent size right now, like you've scaled it, maybe you're doing $5-6 million plus in revenue, this is your biggest obstacle, hands down, no question, because your buyer is going to be sophisticated and they care more about their time than their money, because they already have money. They've got a fair bit of it, and they already have access to capital resources. That's not an issue for them. So getting money is not a problem. Really, what they're trying to conserve is their time. They want to make sure they put their time and invest it in the right locations. So this is what we need to do for that. Your opportunity consumes less time than others. That's what we need to show them. It's like, when you buy this business, it's my business. When you buy my business, when they buy your business, it's going to save them time. It's going to save them time in building the company up and starting from scratch. It's going to save them time because it's already built out. It's already systematized, right? Now, the other thing is your opportunity saves them more time than other options. So there's going to be other options in the marketplace that they can potentially acquire, and that you want to make it that your company saves them more time to get where they need to go than any other company. Now, if you kind of go down the value ladder, and we're dealing with smaller businesses where kind of I live and the owners that I help, you want to focus on the time that the owner's spending currently in other endeavors in their life to generate money. You want to make your company look like it's going to be less time, and they're going to be attracted to that, right? Oh, it's going to take me less time to earn more. Fantastic. So that'll get you through the time barrier. Then the last one, we got to overcome the money barrier to guarantee that our company sells, right? And so the money, it breaks into two columns. It breaks into risk and it breaks into return, okay? And this is like, we all know this. It's like, you're valuing the risk and you're valuing the return, right? So how do we solve these two problems? So from a return perspective, we want to know your buyer's hurdle rate. So if you never heard that word hurdle rate before, it just means return on investment. So we want to know what kind of return on investment is your buyer looking for. And then we have to meet that, right? We have to show them that, okay, you're looking for a 20% return on your investment. You're looking for a 50% return on your investment. This business that we have, it's going to achieve that for you. And that's how you get through the return. And to be honest with you, that may sound like, oh, how do I even do that? But getting through the return barrier is one of the easier ones, because it's, especially now with the cost of capital, like you'll be able to fly through this barrier. You're going to, time's harder. You'll get through this one. Okay. Then, so here's the average return rate, right? We have the average return rate's 25 to 41%. That's what buyers are looking for small and medium-sized businesses. You're like, that's crazy. That's so high. But we know as entrepreneurs, businesses are high risk. So they need a return that's going to offset that risk. So then we get into the risk. So how do we get past risk, right? And this is the simple equation for it. So the riskiness of your business just needs to be less than the riskiness of other opportunities that a buyer is going to be potentially looking at. And I'll talk to you in the example as we get into it, how to actually achieve lower risk, right? So if you can get through those, boom, you've done it, okay? All right, so here we are. So now we know the things that we need to get through. Like we need to get past the time, we need to get past the money, we need to get past the objection of status, and then we're going to guarantee that our company sells. So this is the last bit of this presentation here, is a story to embed the knowledge and some practical action items for you guys. All right, I should take a breather. Does anyone have any questions? Because I can see the chat box, even though my presentation got divided up. Companies can sell for a range of prices, multiples, depending on the attractiveness to the buyer. Correct. What are the top 3 things a seller can do to increase the multiple and do a share sale to take advantage of lifetime capital gains? Yeah. How long in advance should they begin planning their sale? Okay, I'll hit all of those. So advance in planning your sale a year. Like you should probably at least get a year, because that's how long it's going to take you to set things up. And then once you go to market, you're about 6 months to a year for the company to actually transact. So 2 years is realistic. If you're like, oh, I don't have 2 years, Scott, I got to sell now. You can do that too. It just erodes value a little bit, right? Like the faster we need to sell, the lower our price is going to be. That's it. But if you got a good runway, give yourself a 2-year runway, 1 year to set up and 1 year to actually get the sale closed. That gives you ample time. Okay. Yeah, sales a share sale, highly recommend. Obviously, you want to take advantage of the lifetime capital gains exemption. Absolutely. So if you can set your company up to sell for a share sale, do it. If you're selling to a US buyer, they'll be really resistant to a share sale because there hardly any of them happen in the States, but you can convince them. You can do it. You can make it happen. And my suggestion there is like set that objective and that expectation extremely early in the sale. And then people will know. It's like the first time they talk to you, just be like, no, I'm only going to sell, I'm selling as a share sale for these particular reasons. And if that expectation is set early, then you'll be good. Okay. And then, yeah, companies sell for a super wide range of multiples, right? It depends on the industry. It depends on like how set up your company is. It depends on historical profitability. And if the trend that you're on, that's all affecting your multiple, but that's all about the risk. Like that risk that I just showed you, the multiple is a reflection of risk. So you'll have companies, like I did a valuation 2 days ago on a furniture company. And it's like the multiples in that industry range from 1.8 times SDE all the way up to almost 5 times SDE. And so what's the range all about, right? That's all reflective on risk. And actually, I talk about that on my YouTube channel. So yeah, go to the YouTube channel, you can see that. So hopefully that helps answer your questions. Okay, so a story to embed the knowledge and some practical action items. Okay, so this is the company that we owned. I owned a property management company for a while and we sold it. And this is kind of the story to take you through. So it's like, how did we bash down and get through our Steven Seagal status block, right? And the status barrier, the membrane. So anyway, it's like fly the buyer. So we flew the buyer out to look at the company, and then we introduced them to the feather in their cap, right? Like I'm like, what's gonna get these guys jazzed about this company? They're a private equity company. They already own a whole bunch of different property management companies throughout North America. What's the feather? I'm like, okay, the feather is gonna be they're expanding to a whole new country. And that's the feather that's stuck. It's like, hey guys, you can buy this property management company. Not only are you getting another company, you're also getting a whole new country, which is going to start your like world domination, right? Like they can expand globally after that. And that feather really works. So you got to think of that feather. It's going to get you through the status, right? Then the next is, okay, so this is where we almost died in this deal. Like this deal almost died right here. And it was the time, right? And like I tell you, like the bigger your company gets, this is the biggest one. It's like time's going to snag you. So we had an established client base. So we're promoting, hey, listen, we're going to save you so much time because we have all these clients and now you don't have to worry about building this client base. And they said, yeah, great. That's a check mark. We're really excited about that time saving. But we didn't have a general manager installed yet into the business. we had a good key person, but not a general manager. And they're like, oh, we can't buy your company unless you have a GM, because we're gonna have to take the time to like get a GM and put them in place. And it's like they don't want to do that. So I said, okay, if I get a GM, get them set up, get them trained up, is this deal good? I said, sure. So we did that, and I saved them that time of doing that work, right? And that got us through the time. Then return, that happens how you structure the deal. Like I said, you're probably not going to die in the return hill when you sell your business, because capital is really cheap right now. And so we just got through it by, we extended them a little bit of a vendor note that changed how much return they were making on the deal, and it crossed the finish line. And then risk, right? We had to show them that, okay, the risk of this deal is super low. And for them, it's like, okay, we had a really strong brand. We were the only licensed business in that particular territory. So it was going to be harder for other competitors to come in. So that's like reducing the risk. And we had all our clients on contract, like bulletproof contract that had long tails on them. So it was recurring revenue that was guaranteed to come in. And they loved that, right? It dropped the risk practically to zero for them. And that got the deal across the finish line. So that's the story that you guys can take away. And then these are the questions to ask yourself, right? To know if you're ready to sell your business, and if you're going to kind of cross that guarantee piece. It's like, what elements of my company will be attractive to a buyer, right? You got to think about that feather in the cap to get through that status barrier. Then ask yourself, do I spend more time on business than a 9-to-5 job? It's like, if you are, and someone's going to come in and step into your shoes, they might not want to work that extra amount, right? Like us as entrepreneurs that started the company, we're used to just beating ourselves against the wall and working these crazy hours. But a buyer, they probably don't want to do that. They're more, I don't know, they're more conscious about their time, especially when they're buying a business. Will the buyer have to update the systems and processes? Like, have I built strong systems and processes into my business that don't have to be updated? That work's already done, and the buyer's not going to have to invest that time. Okay, so then we're talking about return. It's like, do I know the average hurdle rate or multiple of my industry? I'll actually put in the chat, I'll put a link for you guys so you can find that. And then risk. It's like, do I have a defined competitive advantage, brand loyalty, or recurring revenue model? It's like Warren Buffett talks about the moat, right? It's like, have I built a moat around my company that reduces the chances of another company coming in and eating my pie, right? And if you've done that, then you've reduced the risk in your business, and that's very attractive to buyers. Okay. And I said I was going to leave you happier, and then we can kind of ramble in the chat and ask some questions. So to leave you happier, this is the joke that I've practiced 3 times. So it's going to be, who knows, right? So this is the joke to leave you happier. All right. So a doctor's in his office, and he's like, he's got his cloak on, and he reaches into his pocket to pull out his pen, and it's the rectal thermometer. He's like, God, somewhere there's an asshole with my pen. And that's the joke. That I can't hear you guys if you're laughing or not, so it doesn't even matter. But hopefully that helped. So that's the fire hose of how to guarantee your business is sellable. And I don't know if I did it in 20 minutes or not, because I don't know when I had the stage till. But if you guys have any questions, hit me up in the chat box. Yeah, for questions. Any questions? Because I can see those. And then, so it's 3:30. Yeah, I did it. I got through in the 20 minutes. So any questions, let me know. And then also, the networking here is really good. It's tough because it's not like networking in live if we're at an event. Unfortunately, I'll pop myself back to my main screen here. We'll see if I can just get my face instead of, anyway, we'll just keep the split screen. But it's still good because, not like, to be honest with you, people are kind of nervous to go in the networking area. I say you guys should do it, because when you get in there, you'll definitely meet somebody. And that's how I ended up on this stage, because the last event that I was at, I popped into the network area and met Mark, and it's a really cool place. And I find that the entrepreneurs that are really hungry, that they'll congregate and they'll go to that network area. So I highly suggest going there and meeting people, because it's super cool. All right, you guys have any questions about business sales? Toss it in there. You've got my attention here, because I'm here for another 5 minutes or something. Or anything in general, really. I've built a whole bunch of small businesses, so I've been through the trenches. So if you're stuck anywhere right now, then feel free to ask. It's like, I know we got 8 of us still here. So Toss something in the chat. What slide did you guys like best? Did you like the amoeba slide? I was like, should I put the amoeba slide in there? Or like, did you like Steven Seagal? Was that a good idea? Should I use that in the next presentation? Yeah, that's my goal. No, yeah, you know what? Yeah, Jonathan, the Chuck Norris. Yeah, that's when I went through, it's like there was Chuck Norris, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal just had the best cover of the movie. That's for me to change it to the status. By the way, like if you guys are selling stuff, which you are because you're entrepreneurs, you got to hit that. You got to hit status. Status is a beast. Like if you can convince someone that their life is better, that they're going to have higher status after they purchase your product or service, the deal is done, right? It's why we all buy stuff. We kind of don't want to admit it, but it's human nature. It's why we're buying things. We want to be perceived as higher status in our tribes. So if you can nail that one with any product or service that you're selling, try and when you're talking to someone, okay, what's the status that this guy wants or this girl wants, then it makes your sale a whole heck of a lot easier. And then if time and money is always there as well, right? In any sale, like business sale or not. It's like if I can convince them that whatever I'm selling is going to get them where they need to go faster, it's like that's going to be a sale. All right, well, I might cruise over then to the networking area, guys, and then we can rejoin there if no one's got any questions about small business sales. But that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. And for next time, I'll have to figure out why it was backwards, which is weird. Okay, we'll see you there.